withdrawal. You will never get more of what you want by withdrawing. Many of us who lean on withdrawal come from families where that was normal. I was just talking to a staff member who was setting me up for this very call, and she admitted that's my losing strategy. And I said, and no offense to anybody, I said, well, you're British. Let's not be redundant. Yeah, being walled off and not burdening anybody with your feelings. Oh, poor taste is part of that culture traditionally. But moving into true intimacy moves us beyond many of the cultures that we grew up with. So one way of withdrawal being your favorite move is you grew up with it. It's part of your family, maybe part of your culture. Another is the opposite, that you grew up with one or both parents who were intrusive, exploitative. You were a surrogate spouse or a confidant, a hero child or a scapegoat child, could be either. And you were boundary violated. You were intruded upon or exploited or used in some way. And so your fear is suffocation. You're not afraid of closeness. You're afraid of being used. It's true for a lot of men. Many of you heard me say this. People say that men are afraid of intimacy. I don't believe that men are afraid of intimacy. I believe that many men don't know what intimacy is. In the one-up, one-down world of traditional patriarchy, men read intimacy being demanded upon, being challenged by somebody, as suffocation, as being dominated. And I have to teach them about healthy yielding, which is not in many men's vocabulary. We withdraw when we grew up with intrusion. It's a 1-2 punch. But remember this, you will never get more of what you want by leaving the field. Take a breath, learn about boundaries, protect yourself, but in a more relational way. Lean in, as they say, and take the issue on. Take your partner on, but with skill. If it doesn't work well, learn better skills. If it still doesn't work well, get some help with an outside coach or therapist. But don't throw up your hands and just leave. It is one of the great predictors of relational failure. I want you to live in a withdrawal-free zone. Take space, take a break. You can even take, if you're a very hot couple, formal timeouts. I have a one-pager on how to do that on my website. Breaks are good. Timeouts are the antidote to reactivity and emotional violence. They take time for what we call relational mindfulness to get recentered in that thinking part of you when you're flooded with reactivity. All that's good, but negotiated with your partner up front and not indefinite and interminable and unilateral. I'm out of here. I don't need this crap is not a way of handling yourself well in your relationships. Learn to do better. I have a million sayings, and one of them is this. There's no such thing as overreacting. It's just that what you're reacting to may not be what's in front of you. It may be what's behind you. If you are plagued by an outsized feeling, it's probably not the present. It's probably what's going on now as a trauma trigger. You don't remember trauma, you relive it. So I grew up with a critical father. If my wife Belinda is unhappy with me in a vociferous way, I'm not the 73-year-old, I'm the 4-year-old, and being yelled at by his towering father, and then I get mad and yell back and we're off to the races. I am overreacting to the present moment. I am not overreacting to the injury and reactivity that brings up. We all get reactive in our relationships. That's the gift of a relationship. We don't control our partners to stop it. We turn to the wounded, reactive parts of us and deal with it. Maturity comes when we deal with our inner children and don't foist them off on our partners. One thing that could change your life and shake up your relationship. Here it is. Ready? Take this in. There is no redeeming value in harshness. Let me say it again. There is absolutely no redeeming value in harshness. There is nothing that harshness does that loving firmness doesn't do better. If we're talking about parenting your kids, if we're talking about standing up to somebody at work, if we're talking about the way you talk to you inside your skull, this has the power to change your life. If it's harsh, it's off. At 73, I have a deal with the universe. If it's unkind, I'm not interested. And that means between me and me. I will say to the harsh voice inside of myself, if you have something to say to me, go ahead. I want to learn. But you got to talk to me like you're on my side. And many of us would not put up for a second if somebody outside of us talked to us the way we allow ourselves to talk to ourselves. Stand up to harshness. Say it kindly, and I'll listen. If it's you talking to me talking to someone else, or me talking to me. Find a way to say it like you're on their side and insist on that coming at you. You may not be able to control the other person, but you can protect yourself and leave. If it's harsh, it's off. I invite you to live a non-violent life between you and others and between your ears. It really makes a huge difference. Give it a shot.